So I recently completed Crash Nitro Kart, and I really want to talk about it with you guys. But first, our current goal is to collect, beat, and 100% every Crash Bandicoot game, and Crash Nitro Kart just so happened to be our 8th game in the series. This game was released in 2003 and was released on the PS2, GameCube, and Xbox. This game is a sequel to the iconic PS1 classic Crash Team Racing, and in a previous video where I reviewed this game, I gave it a 10 out of 10. So how could the franchise create a sequel without making it a major letdown? Now the question at hand, is Crash Nitro Kart a good game? Well, let's dig into that. We start the game off with both parties of Crash and Cortex doing their respective things when they get zapped into the sky. They arrive in a large coliseum somewhere in a different galaxy ruled by Emperor Velo. Having heard from Nitrous Oxide, he uses our team as entertainment, promising if they win, they can go back home and earn their freedom, but threatens the destruction of Earth if they don't race. Just like in Crash Team Racing, after beating the original boss, you have to go back and collect all the tokens and relics. To save time, I will discuss everything all together. The races will take part in 4 different worlds: Terra, Baron, Phenomena, and Techni. You have to collect 3 trophies from each world to qualify to face the boss of each world. A unique change to this game is the introduction of anti-gravity, which allows you to ride on the walls on certain parts of the map. It also introduces the team up feature, which allows you to charge up for Team Frenzy, that just gives you a multitude of different power-ups consecutively. I really like these changes, but I'll talk about that more later. We decided to use Team Bandicoot again. This game is called Crash Nitro Kart, not Cortex Nitro Kart. We start off in Terra. Terra is home to Inferno Island, Jungle Boogie, and Tiny Temple. After collecting the key in each world, you are eligible to compete in the Crystal Arena. Inferno Island felt very similar to Crash Cove and Crash Team Racing. Nothing crazy, just a simple layout with that classic first level to show you the ropes. The second level in Terra is Jungle Boogie, which already has more opportunities for failure. Many different jumps you have to make in order to get all of the C and K letters. This one in particular had me feeling like this. I was just not good at this game in terms of hitting certain jumps, but that's user error. Our last level here is Tiny Temple. This is by far my favorite of the 3 maps. I thought the design was really neat and just played really well in my opinion. We did have the privilege to race against our first world champion, Kronk, who has some weird beef with Earth because their planets are similar. But if you ask me, I ain't never seen someone who looks like him on Earth, so he might just be tweaking. The race is in Jungle Boogie. He'll drop some kind of weird fruit with thorns in it, but overall, if you take the lead, you can win it pretty easily. After defeating him, he seems to be very humbled very quickly. Crash then decides to give him a yo-yo, and Kronk tells him that they actually copied Earth's layout. Imagine that. Velo seems upset. We won, but he moves us along to the second world, Baron. If you are enjoying this video so far, please consider dropping a like or sub to the channel. Currently, most of you guys watching these videos are not subscribed to the channel, and by showing support, it could help us improve the quality of the games and videos being collected and played. But after winning the key, you're able to unlock the portal to take you to Baron. Baron is home to Meteor Gorge, Baron Ruins, and Deep Sea Driving. Meteor Gorge is by far my favorite track. For some reason, I just really thrived on this racetrack. I love the jumps, the ability to pile on multiple drifts, and the overall design of the level was clean. I was crushing the CPUs in this one. The next track is Baron Ruins. I actually really disliked this one. I got caught in a glitch a few times, which forced me to restart my PS2, which always sucks, especially when you don't save. Lastly, we have Deep Sea Driving. I was a huge fan of the anti-gravity portion of this track. It was probably the longest segment in the game that we had for this, and it had multiple obstacles you had to avoid while going through it. After collecting all 3 trophies, we get the opportunity to race our next world champion. This time we raced against an annoying shark named Nash. Now listen, I might have a small amount of biased hate towards this guy. He reminds me of that Jeff the Land Shark character in Marvel Rivals. And I really didn't play that game enough to really have too much of an opinion, but geez was he so annoying to play against. But there's my rant. But we return to Deep Sea Driving, and he throws out the little wind-up toy teeth that start chomping against you. Once again, if you build a small lead, you can win this one pretty easily. After defeating him, he starts raging, trying to get his key back when Coco hacks his brain and makes him fall asleep. You can tell Velo is starting to seem a little bit stressed, but he moves us along to the third world, Dina Mona. After winning the key, we are able to unlock the portal to Phenomoma. Phenomoma, oh my gosh, I could not say that. It's home to 3 different racetracks. These include Out of Time, Clockwork, Wampa, and Thunderstruck. I had mixed emotions about these tracks. Out of Time I thought was a super fun track, great opportunities for drifting, cool design, and it played really great. Clockwork Wampa really stressed me out. I really struggled on both the Time Relics and C&K challenge for this one. I couldn't time jumps to grab certain letters and boxes and caused me to play through it multiple times. Thunderstruck was similar, it took multiple attempts, but I did enjoy racing on this track at least. Some positive. It was hard for me, but I loved the design of it and the drifting opportunities and how they made it sort of harder to see. After collecting all 3 trophies, we get the opportunity to race against the 3rd world champion, Norm. Norm is a mute mime who wasn't interested in racing originally. He then splits into 2 different mimes, but the second one isn't quite as mute. He raced him back at Out of Time, which is thankfully my best track here. There's multiple ways to create a gap in the beginning of this map. Execute it correctly and you'll have an easy win. After defeating him, the talkative mime comes over and gives us our flowers. Velo is quite upset at Norm though. He moves us along to the final world, Techni. After winning the key, we're able to unlock the portal to Techni. Techni is home to 3 different racetracks, Assembly Line, Android Alley, and Electron Avenue. I struggled on every single one of these. Assembly Line quite literally took years off my life. After finally getting it, I was able to move on to the second track here, Android Alley. The train here gave me so much trouble for no reason. Once again, I know, it's just user error. Lastly, we get to Electron Avenue. This one took me multiple attempts as well, but I did actually enjoy how it raced. One of my more favorite maps. After collecting the final trophies, we get to race against the last world champion, Geary, who starts off aggressive and then just turns into some OCD like clean freak. You race him back at Android Alley, but luckily all the obstacles are turned off. Without the obstacles, it's a much more pleasant track. Feel like I've repeated this a lot, but if you get ahead, they are pretty easy to defeat. After defeating him, we get a more funny scene of Geary walking up to Crash and begin to clean him off. Which one thing I do appreciate and love about this game is all the interactions we see Crash get into. We kind of see more of his personality. Now that we defeat him, we get the opportunity to race against the great Velo in the Galaxy Championship. He actually brings in 2 of the racers with him, but they don't count towards placement. They are more so just decoys for him. This racetrack has multiple different segments, a very unique track, but can be very frustrating. No matter how well you race sometimes, they just kind of give him the advantage. It took me a few attempts to defeat him. After defeating him though, you have to go back and get all the time relics and tokens before you can rematch him for 100%. I did really struggle with most of the C&K tokens and quite a few of the time relics. I really struggled to drift into the speed up to make some of the jumps, which caused quite a bit of frustration. After you collect all the C&K tokens, you can compete in Velo's vault for the gym cups to unlock Hyperspaceway for the final time relic. There's 4 different gym cups. There's red, purple, green, and blue. They're slightly more difficult than the prior races, but after completing the relics and tokens, it felt pretty good just to be able to go out there and race. They do this in a Grand Prix style format where each placement gives you a certain amount of points, which is always a fun concept. After completing all 4 gym cups, we get to try and complete the time relic for Hyperspaceway. This also took me way too long to complete. I kept trying to get all the boxes and just couldn't survive some of the jumps and would kill my total time. I eventually said, screw that, and just try to complete the race. It really is a fun track to race, and by the end of all those repetitive attempts, I did get rather good at it. In our rematch against Velo, it's more of the same tactics. You can be really far ahead and somehow he would randomly catch up and beat you. I guess there's a reason they don't show a map on this one. But nothing really changed from the last time we raced him. After defeating him, we get a scene of Velo exploding. He is actually a robot, which at this point was just a major plot twist. From his ashes is a smaller Velo. This scene really reminds me of Space Jam. Velo really reminded me of Mr. Swackhammer, which I had to look his name up, and I also did not know he was voiced by Danny DeVito. Sorry, random fact there. And the smaller Velo reminded me of the little aliens. You actually start to feel bad for him as the rest of his citizens begin to laugh at him. He agrees to his promise and sends Crash and his friends back home though. Now that you have either been refreshed to the contents of this game or been explained to you for the first time, what do you think? Was it a good game? Well, it is always hard to follow up a classic when you're the sequel, but it's even harder when that original game is Crash Team Racing. I thought the overall storyline in this game was extremely good, and the cutscenes were extremely cinematic. They haven't really made a game yet where Crash really shows that much personality, so I thought that was really cool. I thought they did a really good job of incorporating different mechanics, aka the Team Frenzy and Anti-Gravity, to help freshen the game up a little bit and give it a different feeling. It also gave you a total of 6 playable characters, and depending on who you chose, gave you a whole different storyline. Remember, I only played this game as Crash. Cortex's game is completely different. Which games are always much more fun when you have the opportunity to play as different characters. I still also love the ability that you have that you could just drive in between the races to the next destination. With all that being said, my overall rating for this game is a 7.5 out of 10. There were multiple times where I just had to constantly restart the race to try and get something I missed, or because the game glitched on certain jumps. I mean, if you turn the 7.5 out of 10 into a grade, you get a 75%, and C's good degrees, baby. So we're going to use that same justification that Crash Nitro Kart is a good game. Our next game in the series is returning back to the Game Boy Advance for Crash Bandicoot 2 Entranced, and I'm super excited for this one. I really enjoyed their first Game Boy title, Crash Huge Adventure, so I'm really excited to start this one. If you made it this far, let me know what you liked or didn't like about this game, and also what you liked, disliked about this video. I'm constantly trying to improve these reviews, but positive input always goes a far way in terms of improvement. Thanks for watching, guys, and I hope you all have a great day.